All right, so I had to go back and look for the video I did a while ago about who stabbed Gary because I remember in the video I had maybe, I don't know, 12 to 15 different suspects listed as the person that put the knife in Scary Gary's chest. Now, this video, I dropped it on August 6th, 2024. Oh, sorry, August 9th. So this was quite a while ago. And I had to go back. I'm like, I knew a certain person was on the list, but I couldn't think of who it was. What number it was. But yeah, Jasmine, I did have her on the list. And I had her as the top contender as the stabber. I think Tamara was a close second. But the reason I'm doing this video is I was looking at the comments on the numerous posts I did on a Thursday of last week because you all know the trailer for this week's episode kind of set me off. And I was hit with an interesting DM today. It's like, okay, Jeremy, now we all know that you did not like Zatima season 3. And you said you were going to quit watching after episode 16 or 17 dropped. I forget which one. And then you watched the last 2 episodes and you really loved it. But with Sistas being debatably worse than Zatima season 3, what would it take for the show to do in order for you to just quit? That is a very good question. I think of it from this perspective. Remember what I said just about a minute and a half ago about Jasmine. Let's go to an interview clip with the cast of Sistas from, I believe, the TV Scad Fest about a week ago.
I know this sounds crazy, but I feel like Jasmine is still lurking around. His first ex-wife. Or maybe it's another wife. You know, Gary crazy.
Okay, so one of the cast, Novi, mentioned Jasmine, the person who I believe could be the top contender for the person that stabbed Gary. All right? So what I wanted to do is bring up the fact that Novi saying this had me going, wait, maybe I was right. Maybe my Hail Mary attempt at coming up with a potential surprise suspect is actually going to come true. And the reason I say this is because of an interview she did prior to season 7 coming out.
It was a little something. Mama will be happy too.
You will see the baby bump. Okay, so like I know y'all been going crazy over that. You will see the baby bump.
She's giving us something.
Okay, so before the season came out, she did say the one little tidbit she would give fans is the baby bump is coming. Folks kept asking about it, complaining about it, like, where is it? Why isn't she showing? She's been pregnant for X amount of years, whatever. She's going to have a baby bump. But then we have another interview she did. I think it was on the Sherry show with some of the other cast.
What will be the most shocking thing?
Oh, I know
that happened.
That's all. That's it? Don't say nothing else.
No.
Okay, and this is, I believe, prior to season 8 dropping. And the reason I wanted to pull that clip is because of the fact that maybe Novi figured that after the whole baby bump thing, that it wasn't something she was supposed to say. So when it came to answering questions about season 8 prior to the season airing, she's like, nope, I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to say anything. And then I thought about it. I'm like, would she actually spoil something this big again? I don't know. Because sometimes the cast could just be oblivious to what's going on in the script. Because when you play the interview from the SCAD TV Fest thing, I believe Mignon said this.
We try not to read each other's storylines so that when we watch, we can watch with the audience. But I think I did make her tell me. Yeah.
And I think DeVal says something like this in a podcast he was on, an interview he was doing. But basically, sometimes, you know, the cast, because they film stuff so frequently and whatnot, within 7 to 10 days, give or take, they don't read ahead in the script, at least for storylines that don't involve them. That way, when it's time to watch the show with the rest of the world, they can be genuinely surprised by, you know, what's to come. So when asked the question, who stabbed Gary? Who stabbed Gary? I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Maybe they aren't trying to fool us. Maybe they genuinely do not know. So when Novi brought up my baby Jasmine, I'm just scratching my head like, does she know? Or does she really not know when she's making a guess? But, you know, for her to mention Jasmine when all the other actors, Brian, Crystal, DeVal, Mignon, KJ, they didn't really give us a name. They're just like, oh, I don't know. I mean, Gary's a scammer, so I mean, you never know. And hey, he has so many enemies, so there's no telling who did it. But he no doubt deserved to get stabbed. Yet Novi was the only one to give a name. It just has me going, this must be like when Mark Ruffalo spoiled Avengers Infinity War by saying that everybody dies.
Marvel, it doesn't end that well. Somebody always bites or gets really badly hurt.
Wait till you see this next one. Everybody dies.
Dude.
Not everybody. No. Is that?
No?
Hey, whatever.
Can we rewind that?
But I don't know. I mean, she had the body language and tone of someone who reminds me of myself, someone who is watching the show and coming up with their own theories about where it's going, because I really don't believe she would spoil something like this knowingly, especially with two of the other main cast members standing right there. You know, it doesn't really work. Like, I don't know. But then I think about what Crystal said in that Sherry interview where Novi said, oh, I'm not saying anything. Crystal said something to the effect of, when I read it, I was genuinely shocked, and I feel like when the fans watch it, they'll be shocked too.
Because we can't tell a lot. But I will say this, you're going to be totally surprised by the person who actually did do it to Gary.
Really?
You're going to be like, wait, what?
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
like even I was reading the script and I was like, I did not see that coming. So that's all I'm going to say.
And that's been one of the driving points of season 8. Anytime the show points us in the direction of this person did it, no, this person did it, somebody during my live streams or in the comment section of my videos will usually say, well, remember, Jeremy, Crystal said, like, the person who did it is somebody who will be shocked, you know, did it, you know, someone we didn't see coming. And I'm thinking about it, but you got to look at it from my perspective. I'm a freaking just addict to this kind of theory crafting, and I've come up with theories about dang near every person, their motive, and why they would have done it. So it's hard to believe that me, of all people, would be genuinely surprised, because I could have been like, they reveal who stabbed it. I'm like, okay, that person was number 6 on my list, or this person was number 12, or this person was number 5. But I think that Jasmine makes the most sense in a lot of ways. Not to mention, Crystal said it will be somebody we didn't see. You know, it'll be somebody we are surprised by, and yet Jasmine is played by Crystal Lee Naomi. See what I'm doing right there? I'm looking for clues that are probably not there. Now, why am I saying all this? It goes back to what I said at the beginning of the video. And people ask, what would it take for you to stop watching Sistas? Like, what would piss you off to the point where you would be done? That is if Jasmine is brought back and something horrible happens to her. Because if you remember at the end of the Oval season 1, I think that the fans who have been rocking with me for the past few years know for a fact that when Tyler's Viacom era started and the Oval and Sisters kicked off in 2019, it was kind of a toss-up as to who my biggest crush was at the time. Jasmine from Sisters or Jean from the Oval. Like, I was, you know, it was no secret I love them both. But in the Oval, Jean would like disappear for several episodes at a time because the cast was so big. And I remember I think Ashley did a live stream on Instagram, and this was years ago, so maybe I'm misremembering, but I think it was 2020, I think. Yeah, maybe it was. But either way, I got the chance to be on the live stream with her, and she had been gone for like 7 episodes in the show. So I actually got to speak with her. And then the episode aired, the 2-part finale, the next day. And Jason assaulted and murdered her. And I remember crying during a live stream because I went live after the first episode of that night, and I said, I'm done with the Oval. Like, I was done. I couldn't do it anymore. They killed my baby. I was done. But you all said, screw your feelings. We want you to review it. And I'm still reviewing it. So when it comes to Sistas, I don't know how I would feel if Jasmine, who has not been seen in the show since season 3, episode 1, is brought back in season 8, episode whatever. Maybe it's the final episode of the season. Maybe it's the penultimate episode of the season. But if she is brought back almost, 5 years later, and something happens to her, I will be completely just mortified. And I don't think I would watch season 9.
I'm done. Cut the show. I'm done.
Look, I know because the writers are very divisive in terms of how fans react to their writing. Like, I defended them in season 7. Season 8, I'm just sitting here like, what in the world is happening with the characters? But I can't sit up here and think that if the writers do bring my baby back, they would hurt her. But then again, I said this in season 7. I said season 7 feels like a soft reboot where a lot of the season 1 vibes of the show came back. I mean, heck, we had the return of Miss Lisa, who didn't appear since season 5. We got little callbacks to season 1. Heck, I think one of the highlights of season 7 for me was the fact that the writers really they really try to capture the essence of season 1 by having the girls meet up more often. Because after the first 1 or 2 seasons, Tyler had it where the girls didn't meet up as frequently. I mean, they would only do so in the midst of like a crisis. There really weren't that many occasions where we would see all 4 ladies in attendance at a restaurant or at, like one of their houses or whatnot. But it just felt like the callbacks were strong, and I really felt like, okay, we got so many returning themes and characters and even plot points that Jasmine has to come back, right? So if she does come back this season and I don't know. I mean, if she dies, part of me dies with her. And I don't know if I can go on. Look, and I'm talking about in sense of the show, folks. Calm down. Look, I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy, all right? So, yeah, if something happened to her, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably be done with the show after that. Because I feel like that's the final straw. Like, I've hung in there as long as I could. But if I would feel a sense of betrayal that me, the guy who's been riding with the show since episode 1, reviewing every episode since episode 1, and then they took my baby, put her back in the show, and I feel like, yo, these writers don't know me, but I feel like they did it for me. And then they did something like, I don't know, hurt her or heaven forbid. Okay, Tyler had to thrown off a damn parking garage, all right? But she was okay. And then if she gets brought back and she, heaven forbid, dies, I don't know what I do, because I'm like, you're going to kill her, but you're not going to kill Jason on the Oval, who you threw off the roof of the White House. Well, technically, Jasmine fell off a parking garage first, so tick for tack. But yeah, I don't know. So for me, at this point in time, anything happening to Jasmine would be my sayonara to Sistas. So that's your answer to my question, or sorry, the answer to your question, my bad. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. So good question, and I'm glad that I actually sat down to answer it because I had to think about it. So like I said, Novi and her theory about Jasmine has me going, wow. Well, it's good to know somebody else shares my same sentiment.